Hello everyone and welcome back to The Rational Brit. Today we need to talk about a massive change coming to our asylum system. Make sure to like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe because this affects the future direction of this country. Here's the headline. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood is expected to announce on Monday that asylum in the UK will no longer be permanent. Refugee status will become temporary and subject to regular review. This is being modeled on the Danish system, designed to make Britain less attractive for illegal immigration. Right now, if you're granted refugee status, you get it for 5 years. Then you can apply for indefinite leave to remain and eventually citizenship. Under the new system, that changes completely. Refugee status becomes temporary with regular reviews, and as soon as your home country is deemed safe, you'll be removed from the UK. Let's look at the data. The latest Home Office figures show 111,084 people applied for asylum in the UK in the year ending June 2025. That's the highest number since records began in 2001. In the year ending March 2025, there were 44,000 irregular arrivals, 86% arriving on small boats, and 109,000 people claimed asylum, 17% more than the previous year. So you can understand the political pressure to do something. The question is whether this policy is the right something. Denmark has one of the strictest asylum systems in Europe, with temporary protection permits withdrawn when conditions improve back home. They've reduced benefits, made family reunification harder, and receive far fewer asylum applications per capita than we do. But Denmark is still part of EU frameworks that share the burden. Post-Brexit, Britain doesn't have that luxury. Does temporary status actually deter people fleeing war and persecution? If you're in genuine danger, are you calculating whether you might have to return in 10 years? I'm not convinced. Desperate people make decisions that way. How do we define when a country is safe for returns? Syria, Afghanistan, parts of Africa. Who decides the threshold? Get this wrong and we could be sending people back into danger, which would be both morally wrong and likely illegal under international law. What about integration? If people know their status is temporary, what incentive do they have to learn English, contribute to communities, or build a life here? This could create a permanent underclass in limbo. What does this do to our already overwhelmed immigration courts? Every case now needs regular reviews to determine if conditions changed back home. That's massive bureaucracy. The UK is a signatory to the 1951 Refugee Convention. You can't send someone back where they face persecution. If we're constantly reviewing and removing people, we're walking a very fine line. Denmark faces criticism from the UN Refugee Agency for exactly these policies. Are we prepared for that? This comes after huge changes to the entire immigration system. Work visa requirements tightened significantly. Skills threshold raised. Graduate visa cut from 2 years to 18 months. Time needed for permanent settlement going from 5 years to 10 years. Net migration already fell to 431,000 in the year ending December 2024, down from 860,000 the previous year. Work visas down 39%. So previous changes are already working. Do we need to go further with asylum? The government sees record numbers and wants to reduce them by making asylum temporary. But there are serious downsides. This creates uncertainty for genuine refugees. It potentially damages our international reputation. It could increase burden on our legal system. It might make integration harder. And if it doesn't deter people because they're desperate anyway, we've just made the system more complicated without solving the problem. Both major parties have decided being tough on immigration is essential politically. Everyone is searching for a policy that reduces numbers and looks decisive. But nobody wants to talk about why people are coming. Instability in the Middle East and Africa isn't improving. Climate change will create more displacement. Global inequality means people will always want to move to stable, prosperous countries. We also don't talk about the benefits. Many refugees integrate successfully and contribute economically and culturally. Healthcare workers, business owners, people who enrich society. But that gets lost when the debate is entirely about numbers and enforcement. A rational approach would be honest about what's achievable. First, tackle criminal gangs organizing crossings through international cooperation. Second, create safe legal routes so people aren't forced into dangerous journeys. Third, massively speed up asylum decisions. Quick decisions mean quick removals for those who don't qualify and quick integration for those who do. Fourth, if we have temporary status, do it properly with clear criteria and due process. Fifth, have a grown-up conversation about our obligations, our capacity, and how we balance compassion with control. When Shabana Mahmood announces this Monday, listen to the details. How will reviews work? What happens to people already here with refugee status? What defines a safe country? How much will this cost? Does the government genuinely believe this deters people, or is this political signaling? Because if you're fleeing a war zone, you're probably not making calculated decisions based on whether you get permanent or temporary status in 5 years. You're focused on survival now, which means this policy might make us feel like we're doing something without actually solving the problem. This is hugely complex, and anyone who says there's a simple solution is lying. The system is under unsustainable pressure. Record numbers are straining resources and public patience. Something needs to change. But we need changes that are effective, humane, and legal. Making asylum temporary might tick a political box, but if it doesn't reduce numbers, doesn't save money, makes integration harder, and damages our reputation, what have we achieved? So here's what I want in the comments. First, will temporary asylum actually deter dangerous crossings? Second, how do we balance obligations to genuine refugees with public concern about numbers? And third, is there a better approach? Be honest, be thoughtful, and let's have a real discussion. Hit that like button, subscribe for more analysis, and turn on notifications for the follow-up when we get actual details. Monday. Thanks for watching. Stay rational. Britain.